The Timeline is a Blue Wire podcast. Welcome to the Timeline of Phoenix Suns podcast. My name is Mike, here with Sam. How you doing, Sam?
I am feeling fantastic. Thank you as always for asking, Mike. You know, it's a busy time in the lives of Arizona sports fans right now.
Yeah.
The Cardinals season is underway.
Uh-huh.
The D-backs are in hot pursuit of a playoff spot.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
They are. They're in wild card position. And the Phoenix Suns signed Mamadi Diakite to a training camp deal. We are truly making moves right now at this portion of the offseason. So if you're listening to a Suns podcast right now, thank you, because you're a real sicko.
It is, you know, like we were talking about what we were going to do to record today, and it was like nothing has happened in the last week. It's not to say that there's not something to talk about. Ultimately, we do this for 60 to 90 minutes a week. There's usually enough to talk about within that 60 to 90 minute period, but we definitely needed help this week. And you know, I reached out on Twitter and asked for people's ideas of what they wanted to hear us talk about. So we have a lot of options there. But after I did that, another thing happened. Jerseys started to leak, which is, I don't know how much there is to talk about when it comes to jerseys, but the Suns have a new jersey out there.
Real or fake
edition
segment with the Nike City Edition jerseys.
Yeah.
Well, let's start here. How many of the jerseys have you seen?
I think all of them.
Okay, I definitely haven't. I've only seen a couple of choice ones, and the Suns one, which is the most important, so we'll talk about that. We'll touch on that in a second. You can always count on Nike to release some of the worst shit you've ever seen every year.
Are you talking about the Mavs jersey?
I haven't seen the Mavs jersey.
Oh, man, it's bad.
Have you seen the Celtics jersey?
Yeah, what is that?
Okay, we'll talk about it in a second, but this is an exercise that the NBA community, it appears we do every year now, of Nike serves up some fresh garbage.
No, it leaks. It always leaks first, which is, I think, to me, it's the worst case scenario. Two weird things with this leak initially. First of all, no numbers on any of the jerseys that they're showing, which is like a large part of the graphic on a jersey is the number, and you don't really think about that until you see one without a number, and it just feels like something's missing, like the whole bottom half of the jersey is missing. So, for the Suns jersey, I'm reserving judgment so far.
You are joking. That is not the Mavs jersey. I just had to look it up. I'm sorry to interrupt.
It looks terrible. It's terrible. You're right. It's awful.
It's just, wait, am I looking at the right thing? It's just a white?
Yeah.
It's a white with canvas
cursive,
that just says, what are they thinking? What is this? And then the Celtics one was just a solid black jersey with a singular green stripe on the side and the same shade of green that says Celtics on the front. It looks like some shit that you pick up off the clearance rack at Marshall's for $8. Yeah. This is embarrassing. Honestly,
it looks
these are embarrassing designs.
It looks like a Baja Blast, like Mountain Dew cup or something. Like it doesn't, or bottle or something. It just doesn't look, something doesn't look right about the Celtics one. The other thing is, I think it's really difficult, and I've said this before on the podcast, to judge jerseys before seeing them on the players, because these mock-ups that they do and they put online just never look right compared to when you see them on a player. Oftentimes, most jerseys either look much better on players or really just solidify how much you hate them based on how they look on a player. So, looking at particularly the Suns jersey, if you haven't seen it, brief description of it. Picture the All-Star jersey from the 94 All-Star game? Am I wrong about the year? I think it's around
95.
there.
I want to say 95, but someone's
classic
tell me I'm wrong.
All-Star game jersey was when the All-Star game was in Phoenix in that era. It's that jersey with the old school style Western font on the front that says the Valley. So it's like a City Edition jersey for the Suns saying the Valley, has a big star on the front. The trim down the sides of it particularly I think looks pretty cool. But otherwise, it's sort of plain. It's this mixture of two different eras of jerseys, and they're trying to bring it in together for one cohesive look. I'll be honest. My first viewing of the initial, just the top of it, the shirt part, I thought it was boring and didn't look that great. I thought it looked kind of like a mishmash of two different styles that didn't go together very well.
It's as far as I can tell. I don't want to say the consensus opinion. Certainly not a consensus, but the popular opinion. I think.
Yeah.
Until you
shorts.
saw the shorts.
Yeah, they look.
Shorts,
it really
shorts
does
are
bring
pretty
it to the shorts. Look great. They really do look great. And look, I'm a sucker for purple jerseys in general, so I have a feeling that once it's all put together with the number on the players, I'm going to like it. Still not a big, huge fan of the font on the front, but I'd like to see it on a player and with the shorts on before I make my final judgment on how they look. But what'd you think?
I think I'm a simple man, and if I see a cactus, I approve, and there's no cactus. I think
true.
that's what a lot of
true.
people were asking themselves is when they, and I did just look it up, by the way, Phoenix hosted the All-Star Game in 1995.
Okay.
But when people think back on those jerseys, they think of the classic cactus design, and it is notably missing from this year. So yeah, it feels weirdly like a half measure of they wanted something that gave you a hint of nostalgia without, I guess, I don't know, in their mind overwhelming you with it. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed. The shorts do make it better. But all I can say at this point is that it's better than this Celtics design or this Mavs design, but honestly that's not saying much.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing them regardless. I'm curious if there's going to be a similar what they did last year. I don't know if you remember the in-season tournament games and how those were dramatically different. Like the jerseys were different, the courts were different. There was just a whole different look. I'm curious to see how all that comes together for the Suns this year. Are they going to use the same court? Specifically the Suns. Are other teams going to use the same courts that are just like one solid color across the entire court?
I kind of think they should do. I don't actually know the answer to that question. I'm sure they've already sorted that out. I think they should do away with the court thing. I don't think you need different courts for an in-season tournament.
Most of them looked bad, including the Suns court. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It did bring a different feel to those games. So I think if they could do some sort of alternate version of a court, I don't dislike that. I do like the idea.
Play with a different ball. Change the ball. Play with a FIBA ball for the in-season tournament games.
That one fake leather ball that all the players hated. Bring that back for the in-season tournament games and really see how it goes. Or play outdoors. Do something like, if you're going to do something different, do something dramatically different and see how that goes. Make it feel different. Change the 3-point line for the in-season tournament games.
Okay,
do something
now
crazy.
we're getting a little bit too crazy and arcadey here for my taste, which is
make it 3-on-3.
Always sort of my initial fear with the in-season tournament. I don't think they're gonna do anything that.
It doesn't seem like they will. Yeah.
We'll see.
Let's talk about what the people want us to talk about. Okay, let's go through these questions one by one and see how much we can get through.
You got it.
All right. Suns Are Better said, how much point book do you think we'll see this season, and how much do you want to see? The Suns, of course, have 2 point guards on the roster. I think it probably took some level of convincing for both of them to sign with the Suns, considering at least one of them probably could have gotten more than a minimum, and that likely means some level of promise that they're going to get to see the floor. So how much, Sam, point book do you think we're going to see?
Give me 15 seconds because, of course, I want to provide some sort of statistical evidence for the claims I'm about to make.
How much he played when Chris Paul was on the team?
Well, I'm just looking at the general positional breakdown according to Cleaning the Glass, right? So, if you had to guess, last year it says he played point guard 91% of his minutes were at point guard, according to Cleaning the Glass, right? Which that feels right because
he led the team in
point
assists.
Guards.
Yeah,
and when he shared the floor with Bradley Beal, it's right and it's also wrong, right? So I think Cleaning the Glass here is saying that when Devin Booker shared the floor, in order for him for this to be true, that 91% of his minutes were at point guard. That means whenever he shared the floor with Bradley Beal, they considered him the point guard. Except he kind of wasn't, as we know.
The second half of the season, no, yeah.
It kind of felt like Bradley Beal was being forced into that point guard role, as we've talked about many times, when he shouldn't have. But so there was never a ton of clarity for either of those guys in their roles there. If you go back to Chris Paul, the 22-23 season, that was a Chris Paul season, correct? The last Chris Paul season. It's Cleaning Glass says Booker played 3% of his minutes at point guard. Season before that, he played 4% of his minutes at point guard. So basically the idea that we're going to go from him always being the point guard to essentially never, if we go back to a return of the Chris Paul era where it's just like Tyus Jones and Monte Morris are eating up literally 48 or I don't know, maybe 45 point guard minutes per night, something like that.
I think the difference between reality and how sites like that calculate it are that on the court, Tyus Jones could be on the court and Devin Booker could still be playing point guard for certain possessions. So it's just about how you view that, because I do think there's going to be quite a lot of scenarios where the ball and the play starts with Devin Booker because of his gravity, his ability to drive, his ability to just put pressure on the defense. I think a lot of the plays will start with him on the ball. How much will he play without a point guard on the court at all, if that's where the question is leading? A lot less than before is what I think. I think it'll probably be relatively similar to when Chris Paul and Cam Payne were on the team, where a point guard was on the floor the majority of the time. And there will be scenarios where he's still handling the ball with a point guard on the floor, but it's likely that there's a point guard on the floor, barring any injuries, 43 out of 48 minutes a game, probably most of it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, right, that feels right. Tyus is coming here because he was promised a certain role. I think it'd be reasonable to expect he's playing, again, if everyone's healthy, mid-20s at least, right? And then Monte another 15 plus. And that leaves, I don't know, maybe 8 minutes per game at most for a guy like Book or Beal to clean up some minutes of the point guard spot, but it's not a lot, and it's not going to be a lot outside of specific situations.
It's an interesting thing where you could assume that, a point guard plays the first 43 minutes of the game, the last 5 minutes of the game, you take out the point guards, you play a little bigger with the big three on the floor. But they lost a lot of games in the clutch last year. They were, as you remember, anytime they played on ESPN or TNT, the worst team in the clutch for most of the season. So, And part of that was that they couldn't stop turning it over. So it might be that that's one of the more necessary times to have a point guard on the floor, that they actually need somebody on the floor for those times. So there's a possibility to me, unless really the idea of continuity and Coach Bud's vitamins really does bring this team together in a way that we didn't fully anticipate, or in a way that fully laps whatever last year's team was, which is possible. They could get a lot better together just from better coaching and more experience. I think there's a possibility that there's a point guard on the floor 99% of the time in the regular season. Maybe things change in the playoffs depending on matchups.
As a reminder, if you go back to the franchise record season, 3 years ago at this point, where they collapsed in the playoffs, but the 64-win season, by point differential, that team was supposed to win 59 games, according to Basketball Reference. They just calculate by point differential what's your expected. The reason they won 64, a +5 difference between what your expected and what your actual is huge. And the only reason they were able to do that is because every time it was a close game in the fourth quarter, Chris Paul had the offense humming, and they were able to win so many clutch games that your average team was not supposed to win. That was the only reason they got into the 60s at all. They would have been a tremendous team regardless, but that's what allowed them to break the franchise record. The past couple of seasons, especially last year, the Suns have not had that bump. They have not won any additional games over what their point differential would expect them to, because they've just been a bad clutch team. And like you're saying, maybe some point guard play, particularly from Tyus Jones, maybe a little bit from Monte Morris as well, but especially from Tyus, can get them on the right track again.
Getting the ball down the floor without a turnover to start your offense might be the only thing he's on the floor to do in those last few minutes of the game. And then it shifts over to KD or Devin Booker's hands. That might be what it takes, but he's still going to be on the floor. It's really going to be interesting to see how much those guys are capable of hitting catch and shoot threes, and how good they can exist off the ball in these offenses, because that's going to be important, I think, because, as much as they're going to have a point guard on the floor, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are going to need the ball in their hands quite a bit, and they're going to have to play well off of those guys with the ball in their hands. So we'll see. Blake, you have any thoughts? Blake said iOS 18. He wants us to talk about iOS 18. I'm guessing you have zero thoughts on Apple infrastructure, considering you don't have any Apple products, right?
I do not have any Apple products. I'm sorry. I am the one turning your text bubbles green in the group chat, and I'm not going to apologize for it, and I'll never apologize for it.
Well, good news on that. Part of what iOS 18 adds is the ability to send high-resolution photos and videos between Android devices.
Let's go! Because I'm tired of having to apologize. So that's my thought, is let's go, because I am tired of this discrimination. Honestly, the fact that this has not been brought to the Supreme Court already is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And us Android users are tired of being treated as second-class citizens, honestly. So this is great. Thank you for asking, Blake. I will say I have thought I'm not going to get an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
But I have thought my laptop's kind of getting up there in age, and I have thought maybe I should try a Mac for the first time in my life.
I've had a bunch of Macs, and I enjoy the computers quite a bit.
My laptop is like, it weighs 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'm only slightly exaggerating. It's a great, it performs well, but it's like not portable, which is the actual purpose.
No free ads, but we could talk about computers off the air
we'll
later,
get there. We'll
I
get
have
there
thoughts
later.
on them. One thing I'll say, this is very un-Sun's topic, but I thought it was weird that they released iOS 18, whatever it is, yesterday or today or whatever, without a lot of the stuff that they've been advertising until there's a future update. Just a weird business decision by them. Here's another. I'm going in order of what Twitter's giving me here, so I apologize that these are not all Suns related to start here. What is the most dangerous animal you could each kill 1v1, no weapons? And do you think Frank Vogel has a better or worse shot at also killing that animal?
I kind of think Frank Vogel has that dog in it.
How old is Frank Vogel?
Like 55? 60?
I mean, so he's 51.
Whoa,
Which,
whoa. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm sorry, Frank Vogel.
Coaching
I
ages you,
apologize.
I guess.
It really does.
He's got kids, right? So he's
Unless you're
probably got
Eric
dad
Spoelstra,
strength,
who is
right?
still 35.
I don't want to kill any animals, if I'm being honest here.
I love animals.
Yeah.
I really as people know, hopefully
if it was trying to kill me,
I love wildlife.
but I don't even want to picture it. I don't know.
Well,
it would be a pretty small animal, if I'm being honest. I don't have a lot of experience killing. If I had zero weapons, like
Can I posit something I think I'd probably lose to, but I'd be a little bit curious about?
Yeah.
Is, first of all, I think this is great because we have a lot of Australian listeners, and there are a lot of Australian Suns fans. So part of me feels like one of these days we just got to do like a Timeline Takes Australia live show / segment. That's in the back of my brain. I will say that.
Okay.
I would consider fighting a kangaroo. They're kind of scary. And I don't know if I'd make it out the other side, but
okay,
I'd
that's a
consider
pretty
it.
big animal, and I think I'm with you on that. I think I would lose, but that would be the largest I think that I would be willing to fight.
But they're kind of dumb too. So like,
Well,
I feel like
most
maybe
animals
I
are.
lose. What's the name?
Frank Vogel is 5'9". I just googled it.
I'm also 5'9".
Yeah, so he doesn't have a height advantage on either of us, I think, which is good news because we're the
What's
same
his
height. We've
wingspan?
talked about this before. I don't think that's on. I don't think that's going to be on the internet if I had to search. But
what's his standing vert?
What's a kangaroo's wingspan? Is that something I can Google? I'm going to look at that right now.
I don't know, but
does it have a reach advantage on us? I feel like it might.
I feel like it might have the reach advantage, but the big thing with the kangaroo definitely is the vertical and just the per pound or per kilo, whatever, to put it in Aussie terms, the force, the strength. They are strong animals. What's a mini kangaroo called? Is that a wallaby?
Sure.
Is that what those are?
Probably
because
not.
I could for sure kick a wallaby's ass in my defense.
I think Frank Vogel has about an equal shot at besting an animal as Sam and I. I'm not going to give him any worse odds. I don't think 51 is not old enough to start thinking that age is really going to slow him down in a life or death scenario. I think he'll be fine. He's got dad strength. We don't have that. That was Sawyer, by the way, that gave us that question. Thanks, Sawyer. This is someone named Zaid, or maybe Zaid.
Zaid.
What taco do you think is Book's favorite? So Devin Booker's lived in Arizona this is his 10th season. He is half Mexican, so he probably does like tacos.
Can I put you on the spot?
He's also very rich. And I've never had like rich people Mexican food. I don't know if it's different. But yes,
I
you can
know.
put me
I
on the
feel like
spot.
I don't think it matters that Book is rich. I feel like he would want authentic Mexican food.
And you
right?
could probably get fancy, authentic Mexican food as well.
Yeah.
I don't know where to get that, if I'm being honest, but it's possible.
If I asked you, I obviously don't know. I'm not in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And New York Mexican food is,
No.
my understanding is no, right? But do you have a favorite taco spot in the city?
I'm not going to give that up. I'm sorry. I don't want.
Okay, all right, all right. Fuck me, I guess. I didn't know that.
I've given advice to people online when they ask. But
You're more than. What's funny though is you're more than happy to be like, if someone mentions the word espresso or coffee,
Yeah.
then you'll give them 15 spots.
yeah.
But suddenly someone wants a taco and it's game over, I guess. So sorry, folks.
I
No
don't know what
recommendations for-
Devin Booker would like. I imagine if you're going to like a really nice Mexican restaurant, which I'm not saying he's going to, maybe there's like a really good fish taco you can get. I'm not sure that's an Arizona thing, but he's not always here too. I'm gonna say carne asada. I'm gonna say steak. I think he would like
That's
steak.
classic.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an athlete. Athletes like stuff like that. Mikal Bridges was the one that we could probably find out the actual answer to that question, since he goes to Chipotle 3 times a day or something like that. Quite a bit.
I hope he doesn't still.
Well, now he's paid to, I think.
Well, I mean, like, dude, don't get me wrong. Get your sponsorship dollars and whatever, but
That's
like,
it's gonna catch up with you at some point.
a
Yeah.
lot of sodium, man. You should probably scale it back a little bit.
Listen, life's all about leveling up. Whether you're handling business on the field or kicking it in your zone, you like to celebrate with cigars that match the moment. That's why you should link up with Famous Cigars to bring you a wild deal. Right now, you can grab 8 premium cigars for just $8. You heard that right. 8 top-rated cigars at $1 a stick. Top quality brands like Oliva, Romeo y Julieta, and Davidoff. Hand-picked just for you and worth over $80. Hit up famouscigars.com/cam and lock in this exclusive deal. While you're there, check out their insane selection of premium cigars, all shipped fresh and fast from their massive 20,000 square foot humidor. That's half a football field. Famous Cigars has been in the game since 1939 and still family owned. So celebrate every win with the folks at Famous. 8 cigars for $8. famouscigars.com/cam.
This is from Kai. He has 2 questions. 1, who would you want to star in a Suns version of the Christy Bibby Sacramento classic jersey spot? Maybe consider different eras like Marley EJ for the pre-Sunburst jersey. That's the first question. So we'll start with that one. What he's referring to, do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, I saw it. It was
Okay,
cool.
so it's a very, very cool ad that the Sacramento Kings released for their classic edition jersey coming back, where they had players who played in previous eras. Like it was Doug Christie, is that his name? What can't I remember his first name?
Doug Christie.
Thank you.
And Mike Bibby.
Opening up an old jersey and say, oh, there it is. And then he put it on and he went through like the motions of being a player today, whether that be doing a press conference, taking the press photos like on media day, and then playing with a former Sacramento Kings player in Mike Bibby outside in front of his house. Very cool. Very like the kind of fan service I think that teams should try to create, where it's a good ad for the upcoming season, but also reminds you why you're a fan in the first place. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it did a really good job. For me, it would be cool to see players that maybe didn't play together to be in it. Like the obvious is Charles Barkley and Steve Nash. I think that would be like the one that would really bring together every era of Suns
Avengers crossover
fans.
episode.
And
that
they
you don't
both
normally
did
see.
play in the Sunburst jersey, because when Steve Nash was drafted, the Suns still had a Sunburst jersey.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, yeah, well, you could get all sorts of other players from that initial. Did Steve was Steve on what draft class was Steve? 96?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think that's right.
Was he teammates with Robert Horry for like 20 games? Was that
He
the
may have
Robert
been,
Horry
yeah.
season? I have to look
Yeah.
this up because I've never thought about this.
So Steve Nash and Robert Horry is your choice?
I mean, maybe shit. Let me see. 96, 97 Suns. was they drafted Steve Nash, and Robert Horry was there for 32 games, and then he threw in the towel at Coach Danny Ainge and got traded halfway through the season.
It's funny.
Yeah, how have I never thought about that Steve Nash and Robert Horry were teammates for like a very hot minute. Damn. My actual answer is probably, I mean, I know they played together a lot, but like Nash and Stat or Stat and Marion.
Especially if they
guys
brought
like
back a 7 seconds or less jersey, right? That would be, it would have to be Nash and Stat. Like that would be, the commercial would be weird if it wasn't those two guys if they had to make it.
Yeah, I mean, your other option is to go with guys like if those guys just say no, because let's be honest, they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
You could go with like beloved role players, essentially. Like the problem with the Suns is like how many beloved role players do they really have?
Leandro Barbosa and Channing Frye or something like that.
Barbosa and Jared Dudley or something.
Jared Dudley, yeah.
Guys who are like, contributors on like playoff teams for sure. The entire 2010s is a wash. You can't use any of those teams. It's not like you can invite Goran and Bledsoe to come put on jerseys. And then
when they bring back the jerseys with sleeves. And he goes to the trash can. He's like, "There it is."
Yeah, bring Archie Good. Here's Archie Goodwin and Marcus Morris to relive the good old days of 2016 era sleeve jerseys. Where's Caron Butler at when you need him? 10 years from now, we're gonna feel a lot more nostalgia for the Chris Paul era, but we can't do that yet because he's still in the NBA on a different team.
Next question by Kai. In honor of Nurk's travel this summer, which former and current Sun would have the best travel show? I have a very obvious answer to the former player one, and I'm curious if you have the same one, and it's Boris Diaw.
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty good. I was actually gonna say, I think EJ would be pretty good at this.
Oh yeah, that's actually a really good one. Yeah.
EJ would be good at like,
because he's charming and funny. Yeah,
I'm sure he would love nothing more than for the Suns to find it in the budget to just send him places.
Yeah, that's a really good one actually. Yeah.
What international players do we even have this year? Why can I not? My brain
Nurkic. I mean, that's the questions.
Do we only have Americans except for Nurkic?
Oh,
hold on.
Yeah, that might be.
I got you.
That might be the case.
Josh Okogie and Bol, if those count.
Yeah. But,
they've spent a lot of time in the U.S. I don't remember Okogie especially. I mean, EJ gets sent to Bosnia for a travel segment.
I would absolutely watch that. Yeah,
where he drinks a lot with Yusuf Nurkic.
100%. That would be amazing. Yes,
or something of
the sort. He meets his
sort.
Family and stuff like that. Yeah, that's great.
I mean, as for current Suns players, let's see. Is there anyone who's obvious here?
No.
It's hard before I still feel like we don't really know these guys yet. This is what I'm really looking forward to. Media Day. Might be Brad. Brad's pretty funny. But we'll just bully Brad to get back on the court and then like work on his handle again. Like if Brad does anything fun, fans are just gonna bully him, which is a little bit sad. I want to know more about like the personalities behind Ryan Dunn and Oso Guidaro, and even to an extent like Tyus Jones and Monte Morris, guys who I feel like I still don't know a lot about. That's kind of what I look forward to Media Day for. Mm-hmm. Media Day is going to come around in a couple weeks, even less, and I don't really think we get any tangible, great basketball analysis on Media Day, but it's just fun to get a glimpse into some personalities.
I really like that question. Thanks, Kai. Okay, Kenny asks, what's more powerful, the Shamet second round exit curse or the former Wizards player wins a championship curse, which is more of a blessing? Shamet signed with the New York Knicks. You saw this, I assume, right?
I did see. Their last roster spot.
Yeah, I believe so. So
rejoins not only Mikal Bridges, but also Campaign, who's there, in case people forgot that.
I think, honestly, if they get matched up against the Boston Celtics, like, in the second round, they have a chance. Like, I honestly, it's not saying that they don't have a chance.
Of course they do.
But, like, that's more likely than a championship that they lose in the second round, right?
No, for sure. So Landry... but are we not considering that the second round curse is broken because he was with Washington last year, or do we just not count that?
Yeah, I
guess
don't know.
it's
I think
been-
that's how you collect the Wizards player to win a championship curse. Like
He's
you have to go
4
there to collect
he's,
it.
He's 4 second-round losses in a row. So Clippers in 2020 to this. No, not to the Suns. That was the year before we made the playoffs. So Clippers in 2020, Brooklyn in 2021, back-to-back second-round losses with the Suns against the Mavs and the Nuggets.
Yeah.
And then obviously missed last year with the Wizards. And this year is probably not going to play. I mean, I think a lot would have to be going wrong for the Knicks for Landry Shamet to actually be inserted
Right.
into the rotation.
Right.
But you know what? I've thought that before about Landry Shamet. And
He just finds his way.
he finds a way, and maybe Tibbs will be the next victim of that, of the Landry Shamet fan club.
I think the second round exit is the more powerful one there.
Yeah.
Our friend Dan Favali says Oso Iguodaro's bounce passing. He wants us to talk about that. Oso
not a
Iguodaro,
question.
man. Yeah, he just
Oh,
wants,
I guess
it's not a
actually
question. I didn't ask.
you
for
didn't
questions,
ask
so
for
it's my
questions.
fault.
You asked for what
Topics.
do you want us? Okay, topics.
Yeah,
Fair enough, Dan. Shout out Dan. Runs a great podcast.
Hardwood Knocks. Yeah.
What do you want to say about it? About Oso's bounce passing?
I mean, it was really good, and honestly, I looked at clips. I watched a lot of film from him in college, and I think the passing in summer league was better than I had anticipated it being, with less turnovers than I anticipated him having. Which I'm not entirely sure how much will translate when there's all he's surrounded by all NBA athletes, and the length and the speed gets a little bit faster. But it was better than I thought. Like, it really was
Yeah.
better than I thought it was going to be. So
He's-
I'm hoping it translates really well, because he needs to find ways to make the offense better in order to be on the court a lot. And I mean, like, a lot better, because I think he's going to be undersized defensively, and I think he'll struggle to get rebounds. So the offense
Yes.
has to be a lot better when he's on the floor. So that's the type of thing that could help him.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was going to say, too. He's a really unique prospect. I mean, I cannot think of many recently like him, in the sense that going into Summer League, I had watched the clips of him and Kolek working together particularly, but I didn't really know what to expect. And I think the passing was better than anticipated, and the big man stuff was worse than anticipated. Like, I was hoping for a much better showing from Oso in Summer League just as a rebounder, and we never saw it. But if he can make up some of that lost value with just being not even a Nurkic-esque playmaking big, but better than that, right? Because already in Summer League, some of the backdoor cutters he was hitting kind of looks better than that.
He was bringing it up in
awesome.
transition.
Yeah, he needs to add a lot of weight, though. I mean, I know they're working with him on it already, but yeah, it's going to be a process with Oso.
What would it take? What would Nurkic have to shoot from the 3-point line in order for you to try Oso Iguodaro at power forward in lineups with Nurkic? It would have to be like high 30s, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's interesting.
Because he is small. We're going to find ways to put him on the court. There's no other big that could shoot threes. We've done segments on Nurkic's passing. Shooting. We don't believe it's going to be real in this coming season. But if he shot like 38%, like a high percentage for a center from the 3-point line, then you put Oso Iguodaro in there as like the screen roll dive guy. Maybe you have something where you can play multiple bigs, and you don't have to worry about the big man stuff from him as much. And now he's doing more of a Brandon Clark next to Steven Adams type thing.
Well, I was even going to say, like, I feel like the Heat have backed off on this, but I think about the Heat because early in his career, this was kind of their idea for what Bam Adebayo was going to be, right? He was kind of more of a hybrid big, and he had spurts where Spoelstra was playing him at power forward, and it was just like, yeah, he can. But I can't remember who he was playing next to in those lineups in particular. This would have been like 4 or 5 years ago. But he would be playing power forward, and yeah, you'd need a shooter next to a guy like that. But if they're small enough and they have all of the requisite kind of perimeter skills, then theoretically it could work. It's just, we kind of hope that in order to maximize a guy like that, and this is ultimately what happened with Bam, even though they're undersized, they become good enough at protecting the rim and like traditional drop coverage and rebounding the hell out of the ball and all that stuff, that it kind of becomes a moot point, right? And it just makes more sense to play them at the 5 full time. But yeah, we've sort of had the same conversation with Ryan Dunn too, right? It's just like the Suns did not draft Ryan Dunn to be a 3 per se. They drafted him to be a 3/4/5.
Yeah.
And just kind of plug in a bunch of holes, and they're just hoping that something sticks.
Unless they truly, truly believe in his shooting, which, or just believe in the development to actually fix it. Udonis Haslem and Hassan Whiteside were the other centers on the team like 5-6 years ago.
He definitely must have played some minutes with Hassan Whiteside, I want to say.
Yeah, but he played minutes back then.
He had a good stretch with the Heat.
Yeah, it looks like Hassan. So Bam played 23 minutes. Hassan Whiteside played 23 minutes. And Haslem at that time was still only playing 7. So it doesn't look like he played a ton of. I'm only looking at 18-19 right now. I'm just curious.
Hold on.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about that because if we're finding ways for. It's possible Oso Ighodaro can hit threes too, and that solves a problem. But I didn't see any reason to believe that he's going to be able to hit threes. That would be like a development in his career, not something that's expected of him going forward.
They also had. Okay, so I'm looking back on that team. So they had Bam 23 minutes, Hassan Whiteside 23 minutes, Kelly Olynyk 23 minutes.
Ah, yes. See, that's very helpful when you have that kind of big.
If Bam played with Kelly Olynyk, then that's exactly what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now you can
which
have
they did. He was good on that team.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wish we had Kelly Olynyk, if I'm being honest. That would be great. I've been begging for that for years. He'll get to the Suns when all of his juice is gone. All right. Any other thoughts on Iguodaro's bounce passing?
No, not for now.
Two big lineups would be interesting.
We're going to talk about that more soon.
If the Suns can find a way to play two big lineups, the obvious option is Bol if he counts. But if Oso Ighodaro can find a way in there, I guess maybe Oso and Bol play together, and maybe you figure out rebounding by more.
This is what I was trying to say on the did I say it on the? I guess it was Patreon feed when we were talking about Bol. That he, with his internal development, right? He fits with everyone. This is the idea behind Bol this year, is that you can play him with Oso in equal measure as you can play him with Mason Plumlee.
Interesting. Ben Golan asks us, for all his faults, it's a minor miracle Vogel was able to get this team to play like a top 10 defense. Now that we're going even smaller with Jones and Morris at point guard, what should be reasonable expectations for our defense? Could they be good enough with the current personnel? One thing I will say, they didn't quite play like a top 10 defense last year. They were still outside of the top 10, 13th. Second half of the season, if you just look at the second half of the season, I think they may have cracked around the top 10, but they never quite cracked that top 10 overall. I think this is a valid question. I think it's a question worth asking about your overall belief in what this team could be on a grand scale. How much better, I think is another way to word this to you, Sam, would the offense have to be to make up for what I think will likely be a slight hit or maybe a larger hit on the defense overall if you factor in something we've talked about, less turnovers?
Can you repeat the question? I guess it's a math problem, right? The offense needs to be better than the defense is worse, right? So if the defense gets 2 points worse, then the offense needs to be at least 2 points better.
Yeah, I mean that's really all it is, because the net rating
really
is what matters. The question is how much can the defense slip and you still have a chance to be a champion? And
that's a different question, and it's a good question.
I mean it's not necessarily the question he's asking, but it's something that I think about a lot, and maybe it is what he's asking, because the Nuggets is really the only example, right, where the Nuggets offense was incredible and their defense, I think they ended the season like 18th or something like that, 17th.
Was mediocre to even bad sometimes, yeah.
And then the defense ramped up and everything. The Suns struggled a lot defensively last year because they were giving the ball away and they are not good in transition defense.
Yeah,
so factor that in, and that makes a difference.
We're in a new era of a few different things. Universal spacing. Every team, especially the good ones, can play 5 out. Maybe not the Suns this year. We'll see.
Yeah, not 5 out. Yeah.
The good teams can all play 5 out. And that plus the inconsistent officiating once you get to the playoffs, plus just the general level of parity and fewer super teams that are evident across the league, all that means that, not to say that you're trying to necessarily copy what the Nuggets did. Like, you should never be like, oh, because the Nuggets won a championship as the 17th best defense, let's try and construct the 17th best defense, and now we're going to win right? You should be the best defense you possibly can be.
Yeah.
But it's possible. As long as they stay in the top 15, I would say it's definitely possible. Even Boston last year, this is just where the NBA is now. Their defensive rating was 111.6. That was third best in the NBA.
Yeah.
But 112 points basically given up per 100 possessions. You know, that's roughly a game.
And that was that includes the period of the season after Adam Silver decided to punish all the star players in the NBA by allowing them to be fouled constantly, which did sink,
but
in some ways, offensive ratings with less free throws.
But with Boston, the big thing was they played 5 out, and everyone could shoot. And lo and behold, their offensive rating was 123, and that led the NBA. The Suns' offensive rating last year was like 117. It's got to be a lot better than that.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be. I think the goal is 120 plus.
Yeah, I think so.
Would properly insulate you from any, lack of size.
The goal is the best Suns offense ever, essentially. That's kind of what they have to be.
That's a good
because
question.
That's where the
or a good
NBA
point.
is going.
Yeah, let me see where they were a few years ago, actually.
The 64-win team has to be the best one. I'm guessing it's like 118, 119.
Oh, it's worse.
Interesting.
So what's interesting, the 64-win team was actually so good defensively, and this is why we praised Ayton so much that season. The 64-win team had an offensive rating of 115.
Yeah.
The finals team had an offensive rating the season before of 117, but they had a worse net rating because their defense was significantly worse.
Yep.
Weird stuff.
AAA asks, external development, what to expect from the rookies and Tyus Monte Plumlee additions. Now, I do feel like we have talked about that quite a bit as each of them rolled in, but they are all sort of all spread out over the course of 6 or 7 podcasts, probably. But that is a good thing. Maybe we should shelve that one for a future podcast and try to do a longer segment where we could do a little bit more research.
We could definitely do that with a little bit more research, but just to satisfy his curiosity, I'll give a very short answer that, Tyus is leaps and bounds ahead of the rest of the guys on that list in terms of this year's importance. I have a lot of stock invested in Dunn and Oso. Naturally, I'm just really excited by the fact that the Suns took the draft seriously this year, and they came away with not one but multiple prospects to give us some youth. Not just to make Summer League more interesting, which is great, but to actually invest in these guys long term and give us something to cheer for. That's really cool. I'm not really expecting a lot from either of them in year one, right? It's a cherry on top. Yeah. If either of them cracks the rotation, it's because hopefully, if everyone's healthy and whatever, it's because a lot's going right for one of those two guys, and something that we hadn't anticipated is occurring. Whereas for Tyus, he could play 30 minutes a game on this team. I don't think he will, but do you play fantasy basketball, Mike?
No.
You don't do fantasy anything?
Mm-mm.
It kind of surprises me. Tyus is an interesting fantasy play this year. I have no idea what to expect.
Could be a good late pick. Yeah, I like that.
Could he average like 8 assists a game, 9
it's
assists a game?
It's a good question. Yeah,
I have no idea. I honestly don't know.
I think it's possible. We're going at some point, and this next question will lead into that too. We're going to be doing our over-under episodes where I personally have to set some numbers, and I've thought specifically about that number, and you hit about maybe where I'm going to put it. I don't know exactly where I'm going to put it, but
he could also average 4 assists a game, and I wouldn't be shocked. Because
that would shock me, because what is he there for if not that?
To hit spot up threes, and no, but you're right. It's not because then you're like, why isn't Grayson just the 5th starter?
Yeah, he has to be getting those assists. He has to be. I really think that's the main thing that he's there for. It's trying to, if you will, create Chris Paul in the aggregate.
That's literally no, but it's so funny that we've been making Moneyball jokes all summer because not knowing exactly what the Suns would do. Because then that is literally what they're doing. Tyus Jones plus Monte Morris equals Chris Paul.
Low turnover, high assist guys. Yeah,
we're fucking out here. We're replacing Giambi. We're doing it. We're doing the thing. Who else were they trying to replace in that movie? I can't remember anymore. Giambi and
I don't know.
Who else did they lose?
I know the names of those players from the movie, not from their actual real life. So how much I remember the movie is failing me here. Sorry. But this is another question related to that. Tell me about what Book averaging 30 will look like. This is from SoCal Sun. So it's not necessarily saying will Book average 30. But if we were to envision a world where Devin Booker averaged 30 points, what would that take from the Suns this season? And what do you think?
Just an additional level. I mean, he needs to take more shots. Let's be honest.
That's the main. I think that, to me, that's number one.
Which is possible. He absolutely can.
He's got 2 point guards now.
But I think the thing with Book is, he's already really pretty efficient. He's not going to get any more juice out of like his finishing numbers. He's totally ambidextrous, and his finishing numbers are already great. His mid-range numbers are already great. Yes, we're always considering like, oh, what if Book shot 40% from three this year? Is this going to be
that?
The year?
That is what it would take as well. Shoot more threes.
That's
more shots
one
in general.
thing. That's one thing. But I'm saying like even if Book took 19 shots a game last year. If he took the same 19 shots a game this year and shot 40% from three, that's great. That's not going to get him all the way to 30.
No.
To take 30, he needs
30,
to be. We need to see honestly a level of aggression that. I don't know. Have we seen in his career? But I think you could argue like already a couple of years ago when Chris Paul was running the show, we have seen it.
We've seen it in like February and March for a few months, but we never really have seen it over the course of an entire season. When we talked about internal development for these guys, the phrase I used with specifically Beal and Booker were clarity of role. And if the clarity of Devin Booker's role is we need you to score 30, and that is now what Coach Bud is asking of him. And that means that he's not necessarily looking for those the assists. He's not necessarily being tasked as the guy that gets other players going. That is what it would take. So that means 22 shots a game, 23 shots a game, maybe something like that.
We've
less
abandoned
assists, right? 4 or 5 assists now instead of 7.
For sure.
That's going down as well. And then he has to have, I think, the most efficient season of his career, because even getting more shots off is one thing, but being able to hit enough to get to 30 would require additional, efficiency.
It sort of means abandoning this notion of, I remember this video back in our kind of dead YouTube channel days, but, the James Hardenification, however we said that, the James Hardening of Devin Booker. This was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But we've now abandoned that idea. He is no longer James Hardening. Not that he can't do it, just that we want to reserve it for very specific situations. And now he's more of a, dare I say, should I compare him to Kobe? Should we go one tier lower than that? Should we say he's not James Harden anymore? He's Tracy McGrady now?
Truthfully, he's more like Kevin Durant. He'd be more like Durant.
A 6'6" version of KD.
Yeah, exactly. But in role, where you still get assists, you can still make the passes, but your job is to be out there to be one of the best scorers in the NBA. And it's possible his role is more similar to that. It's just so fascinating to watch him play because it's not how he's wired, so I don't think it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not how he's wired. He's going to try to make the best basketball play every time. And also, I do think that the respect he has for Kevin Durant means that there are scenarios where he defers to Kevin Durant. Sometimes even if you wouldn't think of it as the best basketball play, but often with Kevin Durant it is in end of game scenarios anyway. So you're fine in that case. I don't think it's going to happen. I'll say first of all, but I think if those things happen, that's what it would probably look like. And I think you agree. I think we're on the same page here, right?
It's definitely not like the median. It's not what you should expect. But I'll just say I wouldn't be shocked. Year 10,
not out of the realm of possibilities.
Year 10,
I agree.
It's a special year in Book's career. How many records does he really still have to set for Phoenix? You could say maybe he's chasing the all time franchise scoring record at this point. He's got a ways to go to catch up to Walter Davis, but he's chasing it.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone else. He's passing left and right. And a 30-point per game season would look pretty nice on that resume. But, nothing would look nicer than a championship, obviously. That's the main goal.
Alma, our friend Alma, she said Kendrick Lamar. Do you have any Kendrick Lamar thoughts?
Presumably. Wait. Is this about? Well, she didn't.
Super Bowl.
She didn't clarify.
Performing at the Super Bowl.
It's either about he's performing at the Super Bowl or he released a song the other day, right?
He did. Yeah.
I checked it out. Solid.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to expect from Kendrick. At this stage of his career, Kendrick is funny to me because I don't know, building us. Well, we're both fans, right?
I've liked him
Kendrick
this
fan?
whole time. I don't like everything he releases personally, or I haven't. I do think that the trajectory of his career has been interesting, but maybe that's the point you're getting to.
That is the point I'm getting to. I was thinking to myself the other day about how his last album, which the name is eluding me now, Mr. Morale and the whatever, the Eurosteppers, whatever it's called. It's a good album.
I'm doubting myself, so I'm going to look it up. Big Steppers.
The Big Steppers, yep. It's a good album. A great album, even. I enjoyed it a lot at the time of its release. And I'm not sure I've listened to it in 2 years. And I don't know if that says more about who I am at this point in my life and that I'm getting older.
Which is not a problem.
You know, like when Kendrick was at his peak, I was in like high school / college, and there was kind of just like this pervasive culture of you listen to like Kendrick Lamar and I don't know, Kanye and J. Cole and Drake and whatever, and some of those guys are better than others, but we're not going to get into all that today.
Or some of them have different eras of being good and then get worse.
Exactly.
This is what I find interesting about Kendrick Lamar, and I compare it, I think I'm older than you, to Jay-Z, where there was sort of this late career resurgence in Jay-Z where many people now talk about him as if he is the GOAT at hip-hop. And I always find that interesting as someone who, although I was young, experienced a lot of his career, and people did not think of him in that way at the time of his peak. It was sort of this late career appreciation that boosted how he's viewed in hip-hop to a level, I think, that people at the time early in his career, outside of maybe people who are from where he's from in New York, didn't really think of him as that way. And I don't think I don't even think it's viewed as like this bad opinion. I think it's fine to think that about Jay-Z. But for Kendrick, I think
the
that
LeBron effect.
Yeah, it is. Longevity matters. Like, I really do think longevity matters because Jay-Z was good for like a really long time. And I don't think he was ever considered the greatest at the time when he was rapping. Maybe some people thought of him that way, but that longevity,
to be clear,
it all added up to like an incredible career.
To be clear, I think Kendrick is still terrific.
I do too,
like,
and I think this
and I think he artistically he cares about his product, which is not something you could say for every artist.
It's not about selling records for him. I don't think it is personally.
Right, but if you want to stay in the cultural spotlight, you got to give us more than one album every 5 to 6 years. That's
tell Frank Ocean that. But
I to be honest, man, I've never been a big Frank Ocean head.
I mean, that is,
like
we're not going to get into that right now.
But that's sort of what I'm talking about.
He's so good.
Do kids know who Frank Ocean is? Why would
I don't know.
they?
It's a good question. I don't know. That's a really good question.
They probably shouldn't know. Does anyone under the age of 24 know who Frank Ocean is anymore? Because it's been that long.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. Kendrick Lamar, though, has done a lot for his legacy in the last 6 to 8 months. Just a lot. I really do think he has. Like, people will now look back on his career differently because of what happened with this beef that he so very clearly won. And now adding a Super Bowl performance on top of that, if he kills that, like, I'm not going to be surprised if there's a generation of people that will call him, if not the greatest of all time, one of the greatest of all time, which I'm not going to fight with either because I think he's pretty fascinating.
There are going to be people who put them on their Mount Rushmores for sure. I think he's probably going to kill it from like commanding the stage. Like he's gonna put on a good show. But
I'm very excited. I've seen a lot of his performances. If you look, I like to look at old performances at award shows, and he has some of the best. Like I think he's going to be awesome. And he was at the Super Bowl briefly with Snoop and Dr. Dre, so he's got experience. Sorry, that was longer than I anticipated it being.
It's September.
People can turn it off at this point if they really want to. We're already 52 minutes in. We still have some questions to go, though. Greg, our friend from France, asked, how much better is the 6, 7, and 8 rotation compared to last year? which is a very good Suns question. I have it up here actually, and I can sort by minutes per game if you want specifically
that
the
is
6, 7, and 8
exactly
rotation.
what I was going to look for.
Okay, so it is Yusuf Nurkic. This is by minutes per game. Royce O'Neal and Josh Okogie.
See, that's what in the back of my head I was thinking. Would Josh Okogie have cracked the top 8 last year?
He did,
per game?
technically. Yeah.
And there you go.
And I would say it's a lot better. Honestly, I think it's a lot better. If you move Grayson Allen down 1, and maybe you're not, because I don't know how much minutes he's going to play off the bench, because Eric Gordon is in the top 5 of minutes played last year by minutes per game at 27.8. But that's partially because of the amount of time that Brad Beal missed.
Let's say effectively, I know you're going by pure minutes per game, but let's say it's
the first 3 off the bench.
It's Gordon, O'Neal, and Okogie last year.
And so now it'll be O'Neal, Grayson Allen, fill in the blank. That third spot could be Monte Morris. It could be Mason Plumlee.
Could be Bol.
You know, it could be Bol. You know, best case scenario, Ryan Dunn. You know, or worst case, depending on how you look at it. But
I think the big thing is, so Royce is still Royce. No change there. At least I don't think so. We just talked about this.
Well, I do think he goes down like 1 peg.
Yeah, okay.
A little bit, right?
That's fine.
Which is good.
Grayson,
I think, right? Yeah.
Grayson instead of Gordon, huge upgrade.
Yeah, massive, I think.
Massive upgrade.
Gordon was not very good last year.
The only thing that Gordon has that Grayson doesn't is confidence. And so that's the one thing that we need.
And that was bad last year. He should have had a little less sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. But then, Royce is Royce, and Okogie, who was 8th last year, is now like 14th. Not 14th. That's maybe not fair. But he's like 12th.
Yeah.
In the rotation, probably.
Yeah, it's better.
Right.
He's
He's probably still, like, if I had to guess, Okogie's starting ahead of Damian Lee and probably ahead of either both rookies or at least one rookie. Which puts him at 11th
scared to
or
look
12th.
back who we thought the 6, 7, and 8 were last year.
Going
around this time.
That's a great point, though, because going into the season,
Keita Bates-Diop would have been in there, maybe.
We probably thought Keita was number 6.
Yeah.
And no, we probably thought Gordon was number 6.
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe,
but Grayson Allen probably wasn't even in the starting lineup. I mean, I think it took the first few weeks of the season for me to start really begging for that. So Grayson Allen would have been considered that, and we would have had somebody else starting like Keita Bates-Diop.
I think Gordon went into the season as number 6, and Bates-Diop and maybe even Yuta was considered number 8 going into the year.
I feel better about these guys than that. And I honestly, I felt pretty excited about them, but still they were so unproven that I was not putting all my eggs in those baskets even at that time. So I think it's better.
I think it's a lot better, but the truth of the matter is, like, all of those guys just carry on, and we know this, carry on less importance. What's really going to take us over the top is the play of guys number 1, 2, 3, not the play of guys number 6, 7, 8. But it is good to have better guys in the 6, 7, 8 spot. Don't get me wrong.
Let's get through a few more at a higher speed here so we can get through. We're definitely not going to get through all these. Apologies to those who ask questions. But
too much Kendrick talk.
Yeah, we really got the important things out. Pessimistic Suns fan said, if we experience the same fate as last year and end up losing in the first round, thoughts on what's next?
So true to your name that Pessimistic Suns fan is asking us, what if we lose in the first round next year?
Simple thoughts for me. The context matters. Are they healthy? If they are healthy, which in this case, when we lost, they were outside of Grayson Allen, and that to me is not enough. If they are healthy and it goes that badly, I think you could probably see a scenario where they, in some ways, blow it up and try to keep Devin Booker, and that's probably the scenario that would happen.
Sure.
But maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it just depends on the circumstances.
I could see that, but in any sort of blow it up scenario, it depends on, like, guys are going to have their short lists of what teams they're actually willing to go to, and
we're going to revisit the Houston trades that we made, right? Fake Houston trades.
I would just rather not think about this right now. This is the beauty of optimism season.
Yeah,
and
we don't have to.
The new season is that I don't have to think about any of this for at least several months.
Pessimism season is for it's for maybe late April, early May, depending on how the Suns do. Matt Krell said, why does Book get underrated by the media and social media? Why do people still think Ant is SG1? And I have a quick thought on the Ant part. I think people want to be first on that. They don't actually have the case to say he's better than Book now, but they want to be first in saying he is if he does get there.
Okay.
The other part is, hate to say it, Book lost to Ant. in the playoffs. So, that's going to stick in people's minds.
Yeah,
it
he's
doesn't
gotta
matter
get him.
it doesn't matter the scenario and actually how it played out doesn't matter to people.
And even the Olympics, which, people loved Book in the Olympics, and we know from the ratings that a ton of people watch those games, which isn't always true for NBA games. But still, yeah, he's got to get him back. He's got to get him back in the NBA this year.
Let's see. Tyler said KD at the 5 lineups. He wants us to talk about that. You want to throw out a KD at the 5 lineup just off the top of your head here that you'd like to see? I know we put a couple out there.
Head. Let's see.
Here, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this way. Put together a KD at the 5 lineup that includes a point guard.
That includes a point guard, and we're not counting Devin Booker as a point guard. To be clear?
So
right,
this is.
so
I mean,
give me
obviously,
Tyus.
be Tyus, right?
Give me Tyus.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the one I want. Give me Tyus, Book. I do have to think about this a little bit though.
I think if you did a 5 best players on the Suns lineup, it would probably be Tyus, Grayson, Book, Beal, KD.
Yeah, sure, and that's fine.
But it's so small. It's so small.
Well, where my head first went, because I didn't want to be boring and just say like, here are all the best players.
Yeah, but sometimes I would like to see that. I mean,
no, of course,
Yeah.
it's but I want Tyus, Book, Ryan Dunn, Bol, and KD, and just like, what's the defensive rating of that? Well, I don't know, because maybe you have Tyus, so maybe it won't be that good.
well, he's going to be needed in order to actually find ways to score
I
with
think
that
Bol,
lineup out
I think
there.
Bol and KD can actually work really well together, and so maybe even if
It
you
did
had
in the
Tyus,
past, yeah.
if you had Tyus, Book, and Grayson, and then those two guys, that's pretty dangerous. Offensively speaking, it's really dangerous, actually. Like way more so than if you just had like Royce in there at the 4. I think.
Okay, Rose Canseco. He wants us to talk about how Arizonans beg for August to be over, willfully forgetting that September still has temperatures in the low 100s well into the month. And let me just say, today was very nice. As somebody who lives in Phoenix, it's September
What's the temperature
17th.
today, Mike?
I don't even know what the temperature was. Let me look it up. In Phoenix today, 87 degrees. Is that true?
Okay.
It's 86 right now. And it was, probably got up to the
7 p.m.?
90s. Yeah.
When is sunset? This time
around
of year?
later than like around 7, probably a little bit before 7.
Okay.
I was outside quite a bit today. It was just really nice. It was really nice, and yeah, it was probably like 93 or whatever at the peak of the day, but zero humidity. I was just in Texas. I was just in Austin over the weekend, and I was there when it was like 98, 97 degrees there, but it was 75% humidity one of the days I was there, and it was disgusting. I come back here, and it's like 95 degrees, but like 15% humidity. It's pretty nice.
You sound like
I know
such a classic Phoenician, but you're right.
It's true.
You're not
I
wrong.
know that, like, for people who don't live in Phoenix, it's hard to comprehend this. But
Yeah.
when you're outside in 95-degree weather, zero humidity in the shade, it does not feel like 95 degrees. It just doesn't.
Sure.
It feels like 85 degrees, and that feels pretty nice. So I don't know. Like, today I enjoyed it. At night, it's a lot nicer this time of year too. And yes, during the day it still gets hot, but I've already enjoyed September quite a bit compared to August. First week notwithstanding. So today was the wrong day to ask that question. I don't know if you live here, Rose, but yeah.
September's been fun here. Personally, it's like unreasonably warm for September, unseasonably warm. I mean to say, but for us that means like 80. It's been high 80 for like 10 days straight, which is weird for September, but I don't mind. High 80, low 60, pretty sweet.
Let's see. What record do the Suns need to have in the first 20 games to fix my sense of impending doom? This is from Troy, which is a very good question. I think there's a lot of Suns fans right now that are very down on this team, and they earned it, right? It's not just the sweep, which I think it's mostly the sweep, obviously, but the combination of being swept with also having zero assets to improve and the second apron rules that might require them to blow it up in a way that makes it difficult to envision a team that could be competitive in a year or two.
And also that it was a healthy team being swept, right? It wasn't like, oh, KD went down, so we can, we have an excuse. We didn't have that.
Yeah. So 16-4. I mean, that would be really good. I don't know.
Wait,
if
how
they're
did he phrase it?
the first 20 games of the season, what record do the Suns need to have? Is
so
12-8 good enough?
I was just about to say 12-8. Let's recall that the schedule to start the season is hard.
Yeah.
they have a really difficult schedule at the beginning and the end of the season, and the middle portion is the bit that's going to be the cakewalk. So they're going to have to learn on the fly, and every team will be doing this too. It's not just the Suns, and honestly, we do have a good amount of continuity from last year already. Mm-hmm. We don't have that many additions in the rotation this year. So I'm not too worried about them being able to do it and implement Bud's system, which frankly speaking, like I think Bud is a good coach. I don't think X's and O's wise, I don't think it's going to be that hard for them to run whatever he's asking them to run. 12-8 is probably my barometer. Let's go 12-8.
I think it has to be a little bit better than that for me, but it also depends on how the wins come and how the losses come. Because if you remember, the Suns finished the last 10 games of the season 7-3. And some of those losses were so demoralizing that you made you forget about some of the wins. So, if they're 12-8, but the the overall net rating for the team is like 0 because they're getting murdered in the games that they lose, that wouldn't make me feel great.
12-8 with multiple games, like multiple clutch wins.
Yeah, that's good. Against good teams, right? Yeah.
And against good teams, right? So this is a hard question to answer because it's all about context.
Yeah.
If 20 games have passed and you won I don't know who we play in the first 20 games exactly right now. I don't have the schedule in front of me. But if you beat the Boston Celtics and you lose to the Washington Wizards, you're going to kind of throw up your hands and say, I don't know what to make of this. Right?
Yeah.
And that would sort of be classically Suns for them to do that. But we'll just have to see.
Thanks for the question, Troy. This is from WHUABZ. I don't know how to pronounce that. If you could go back in time, what moves would you have done post-finals run? Oh. This is very easy for me. It is shopping DeAndre Ayton at the peak of his value, and I said it at the time. I said it at the time on the podcast. So
yeah, but you wanted Siakam, and
I still would have been happy with that. I don't know if it would have worked, but I think it would have been better.
Yeah, I think it would have been better too. I just don't know if it would have worked. But I think it would have been worth a shot. It really is fascinating to think about. Like, what are we talking about here? 2021 June, DeAndre Ayton. What is his trade value?
High. He tricked everyone.
You could have gotten a good player. Well, I don't know. It's almost like a concept of, are you even trading up or are you trading down? Like, you could have gotten multiple good young players who probably end up being better than DeAndre Ayton because he never got any better, and picks. Like, you could have stocked your war chest with picks a little bit too.
I think you shop Cam Johnson too, by the way. You shop them both at that time just to see what's out there. I'm not saying you trade Cam Johnson. I think you keep Mikal Bridges because, I mean, the contract, the player, the fit as a role player, you need that kind of guy on a championship team. You need guys that are willing to do the stuff that he's willing to do. That's what I would do. And I mean, like I said it at the time, and I took a lot of heat for it, if I'm being honest. But yeah, time heals all wounds. Just not yet. Jake says optimism season. It's 80 degrees at 10 a.m. Suns have a new coach, new system, not one but two PGs, and Nurkic is going to be Brook Lopez. Jake, I mean, this is a good podcast for you because I even talked about the weather before I even read this question. Today was very nice. I agree with you. Feeling good. Feeling pretty good today.
Have we talked about Nurkic being Brook Lopez in these 65 minutes so far?
No, but I mean
know we've talked about it generally.
We've probably said Brook Lopez's name on every podcast in the off season, so now's a good time to say it, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need another comp. Is there another comp? Brook Lopez just works so well because he literally played for Bud.
Yeah.
Al Horford? Is that the other guy who played for Bud?
Yeah, Al Horford passes more like Nurkic, I would say.
Okay, so I think what we're going for, Nurkic is going to be Brook Lopez, and Oso is going to be Al Horford.
I love that. That's a championship. That's a championship right there.
Yeah, no, it is.
Let's see. Xander, the effects and changes we should expect from Coach Bud's system with the updated roster. How do you think this system, if you can boil down changes that Bud will bring to this system into like two things, what would you say those two things would be?
I mean, come on. Two things?
Yeah, I mean, just trying to get through these quickly. So
you want me to boil down Coach Bud's philosophy to two things. And
what are two things that Suns fans will notice? It's not going to encompass everything.
I've got two words for you, Mike.
Okay.
Together. Random. You know I had to do it to you.
It's true.
Like
It's true.
you set me up. You're like a boiled down Bud's philosophy. We're gonna play fast. We're gonna play together. We're gonna play random.
Yeah.
Of course I was gonna. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And
tooth-
don't forget about the vitamins. Yeah.
And vitamins. Yeah, we're really.
I think
gunning
shooting.
that
I think
hard.
potentially shooting more threes.
Sure.
You know, we don't know that for sure, but God, I hope so. Shooting more threes. I mean, we've been saying that for how long with this team, across multiple coaches. So we'll see. And I would say movement. It has to be. That I mean, that's where the
think-
randomness comes from. You can't
I
stand
think
around
that
and be
was
random, right?
The biggest source of frustration for both the players and the front office directed at Vogel was the lack of movement. And there's no way they're giving Bud that job without kind of like some assurance on his part that, yeah, we're going to fix this. So it's shooting, but it's also movement, but it's also, a little bit of defensive versatility, maybe depth. You know, he's going to use more of his depth. So it's going to be a lot of things. It's hard to boil it down just to 2 words.
Okay.
But together and random. There it is.
I love it. Batman is getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame today. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Any
I
thoughts on Batman? Yeah.
have no thoughts. I do generally like Batman. Speaking of Batman, I saw that Robert Pattinson Bong Joon-ho movie trailer.
I just watched that right before we recorded.
It released like 2 hours ago, and I still have to watch it. So I'm really,
it looks-
this has nothing to do with Batman, but I'm very excited.
It looks awesome. It looks really cool.
That's cool.
I think that I didn't know. I'll be honest. I didn't know that they were like gimmicky on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But I guess the whole thing is a gimmick. So I guess that makes sense. Cornhusker Dew said, "The Arizona Cardinals." Did you see the score of the Arizona Cardinals game from Sunday?
The win against the Rams? Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw it.
they
But
dom-
you know,
they
like
dominated
I'm not actually a Cardinals fan, guys, because I'm not from there.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's more your domain if you want to comment on it.
I mean, I watch when they're good. And so this season is looking like a season that I could at least partially partake in. I'm absolutely, without a doubt and without any shame, a bandwagon fan of this team. I'm not going to follow a team that's bad. I don't have the time or the energy to do it. So if they're going to be good, I'll watch it. Kyler Murray looked awesome even in the first game, at least the first half of it, because I watched that one. I didn't watch this game. That was the win because I was traveling at the time. But I hope that they have another game like that soon that I actually have a chance to watch because when they're good, I have a good time.
It's funny because sometimes, you know, as guys who like, you know, live and breathe Suns basketball and like really care so much about this team, this organization, whatever. But it's like, yeah, sometimes you do meet those people who they're like that, but every team in the market. I mean, that's what all the radio guys are. Let's be honest.
Everyone that's listening to this that lives in Phoenix, that's what your coworkers are, isn't it? You know, they only want to talk about the Suns either when they're awful or when they're good. Right to you. They come up to you because they know you as a Suns fan, everyone that's listening to this, and they only talk to you either if the Suns had a really great win or a really nasty loss. And that's the only time they want to talk to you about it. And that's the only time they're interested. We're all used to it. And that's me, honestly, with the Cardinals. So I'm happy
You talk
to do
Suns? You talk Suns with your coworkers?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's hard because, like, it's hard having a conversation with someone where... This is gonna sound so.
You're about
stupid.
to sound like such an asshole. I can already tell.
How do you have a conversation with someone where the stuff I want to talk about they're not interested in at all, but we do share like a similar interest in the team as a whole? You know, like this is. I have this problem with coffee too. Sometimes, you know what I mean?
With who? Sorry.
With coffee, like when people want to talk about coffee, and I'm like, I'm gonna sound like a dick. You don't want to talk to me about this.
When it comes to coffee, yes, you do sound
Yes.
like a dick. I can
Yeah.
confirm. Here's the thing,
And
I
that's
think
what
with
happens with
basketball,
sports too.
But I think you can always find common ground with someone, especially like if you're kind of extending a hand towards someone who's trying to become more of a fan of the game.
Oh,
and you
absolutely.
have-
Those conversations I can have. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's what pisses me off. I'm not in an office job anymore, but when I was, it would be the conversations with the old heads that would make me want to rip my hair out.
Oh yeah.
The guys who still follow basketball, but will not shut the hell up about how the 90s were better for this
Oh
or
yeah.
that
Or how they
whatever.
travel too much now, or yeah.
How they only watch college basketball
Yeah.
because those are the guys who play defense. I could not do it without wanting to scream. At a certain point, those are the ones that drove me crazy. But mostly it's like, if you're having a conversation with me, even if I can tell you follow the team less, there should be something, you know, that we can reach some sort of topic that both of us can get a grasp on, I think.
Let's do one more, and because this one's going to take a minute, and we're going to actually do it. What are we at this podcast? 1 hour, 12 minutes of actual recording before ads or theme music. All right, this one's going long, but I want to do this because I think it would be fun to actually have each of us have a team. This is from Tom. Draft a starting 5 all-time Suns players to help you survive a zombie apocalypse. So we're going to do this quickly. Do you want the first pick in this draft? We're going to each draft a team here.
Really?
So this is it. This is a team. Don't overthink it. 5 players to help you survive a zombie apocalypse.
All Suns players all time?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's
we're
what
going to
I'm
have people tell us which team's better here.
Okay,
the
let
people
me just,
that actually, the hardcore fans that listen to the end of the podcast.
Let's just think about this rationally for a second. So I think there's a couple of judgments you have to make. It's not just who can help you survive a zombie apocalypse, like who can kill zombies. It needs to be someone you also can get along with in the apocalypse, right?
Oh, see, no, I don't care. I'm just only thinking survival.
No,
you can draft your team that way, but I'm not going to draft my team that way.
That's part of survival. You can't have like a mutiny because you've drafted fucking Marcus Morris first overall.
Fair.
And now
I'm just saying you're going to hear my number 1 pick, and you're going to wonder about this because I have a very obvious number 1 pick, and that's all I've thought through so far. Do you want? I'll even give you the first pick, and hopefully you won't take my player.
There's no way I'm going to take your player.
Okay.
Wait, are we taking them as like, are they in their current form or are they in their like peak physical? Like this is
let's say that's a really good question. Let's say peak physical.
I don't want 60-year-old Charles Barkley. No offense.
You're right. 100%. I think that's a really
okay. They're in their peak physical form. I'm taking Chuck number 1 because
I think that's a really good pick.
Honestly, You know what? Great athlete, funny as hell. Doesn't have he has an ego about him, like as a basketball player. But if you're not challenging him as a basketball player, like he'll just be funny and a good,
fiercely competitive player too. I think that's a good. Mine's easy for me. It's Chris Paul.
That's funny. But like, don't you think
he's a psychopath?
He is a psycho.
And he is absolutely. He'll do whatever it takes to survive.
But don't you think
maybe he'll betray me? Yeah.
But also, like, don't you think he might like start a war with like another faction or something? Like,
sure, but we're gonna win that war, and maybe in the fourth quarter will collapse. But yeah,
every zombie show and movie is the same. The zombies are only like roughly speaking the bad guys. The real bad guys are the human beings, our base instincts, right? Those are that's like what every zombie show is like that.
Of course. So I want to be on the side
if you're paired up with Chris Paul, you might kill a lot of zombies, but you also might make a lot of human enemies. That's what I'd be worried about.
Yeah, but what you need like a fiercely competitive,
you're paired up with
person,
Chris Paul against Scott Foster zombie version, and you might be going down. You might be going down in 1. I'm just saying.
I picked who I picked. I'm
number 2, Mikal Bridges.
You're just picking guys you want to hang out with.
Basically, I mean, look, because if we're gonna go down, we're gonna go down. But I want to hang out with Mikal Bridges.
I'm taking Devin Booker.
Okay,
I'm gonna get the 2 competitive psychopaths right next to each other here.
You've got Chris Paul and Devin Booker. I'm gonna stick with them. Yeah. I've got Chuck and Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
Shit, man, where am I gonna go from here?
I got an easy one next, I think.
Number 3, Marcin Gortat, the Polish Hammer. Is that that's not who you were thinking, right? I figured I'd go left field.
We're talking peak physical condition for these guys, so I'm picking Shaq.
Oh, okay. Well,
similar idea as you.
Is that fair? I was thinking about Shaq on like the Suns.
Okay, I'll still take that. I'll still take it. I need a big giant guy.
That's what I was thinking with Gortat.
I think you picked a good one.
I think he's a big giant guy with like a good attitude about him, and can definitely like hold his own.
I mean, honestly, Nurkic was on my list of guys that I was considering here, but Shaq I think jumped ahead of him when I realized that I could pick Shaq. And honestly, good hang potentially. It's like you were talking about. All right, who's your next guy?
Which former Sun? Why are you already laughing?
It's just a funny idea for a question.
Which former Sun do you think would be most? Because again, I'm thinking not just about the zombies, right? I've got an enforcer. Gortat and Barkley are going to kill a lot of zombies.
Yeah.
Mikal's going to hang out. We're going to eat Chipotle.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Chipotle probably doesn't exist in this scenario. We're going to grow beans. Kind of relevant to where I'm going next. which former Sun is most likely to be like a part-time botanist? I need a science guy. I need an agricultural whiz.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure who that is.
You got to make a pick though. You're on the clock.
Do you think Frank Kaminsky might know something about that? Or
I think he could probably grow something.
Number 4, Frank Kaminsky. You're going Frank Kaminsky.
All right. You can potentially have a different kind of business.
We're so gonna die, but my team is more fun. I guarantee my team is more fun.
Raja Bell.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a decent one.
I'm picking Raja Bell, and we each got one more pick here, and I have one guy, so I'm hoping you don't pick him.
I'm stumped. Number 5. I need a wild card, right?
You do.
Well, do I though? Do I need a guy with with like anger issues?
You mean like Robert Horry?
I wasn't gonna go Robert Horry. I was gonna say, do I want this guy? I don't know. Maybe he still has untapped potential. Maybe I still believe in my 5th pick, which is Josh Jackson.
We need to do more drafts.
Give me Josh Jackson. We do need to do more drafts. Drafts are fun. Great question. Wait, who's your number 5? Who's your
Sean
5th guy?
Marion?
Yeah. I mean, that's good.
I'll read your team: Charles Barkley, Mikal Bridges, Gortat, Kaminsky, and Josh Jackson. And mine, which also would be a good basketball team: Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Raja Bell, Sean Marion, and Shaq.
Mine's not a very good basketball team. I'll give you that. All right,
let the people decide. You can tell us who would win in this draft, zombie apocalypse draft between me.
I can't pull back my Josh Jackson pick. Swap him out for like PJ real quick. PJ Tucker.
Yeah, I'll let you do that. That's a really good one. Yeah, I'll let you do that. Josh Jackson's a hilarious pick, so I'm glad you put it in there. But I think you were going for a joke a little bit there.
That was me being chaotic, but I regretted it. It was a moment of weakness.
You signed PJ Tucker as an undrafted player as your 6th man. So if I have to get an undrafted player, I might pick Jason Kidd then, another psychopath. He might betray me too. With both Chris Paul and Jason Kidd, it's possible both of them will kill the rest of us. And
can I grab Stephon Marbury and we just eat a lot of Vaseline?
Sure. You get cheap shoes too, so it's a good advantage.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you get cheap shoes with Shaq too, actually. So
that's a good point.
That's a good point. All right, I think we've overstayed our welcome.
Let us know who wins in this draft. Appreciate you all for listening to this long one. We turned a week that had nothing into an hour-and-a-half long podcast. So we appreciate you all. We'll be back with a Patreon episode later in this week, patreon.com/thetimeline. Excited. We're only a few weeks from Media Day, and that means the season is really ramping up. We appreciate you all. We'll be back very, very soon. Thanks for all the questions.
For over a century, Johnny Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereaux Golf, Johnny Walker introduces the Johnny Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, Blue Label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereaux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnnywalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly.